Welcome, everybody, to the Lending Report for May 23rd, 2025. Don't have a lot for you today, but still an interesting week regardless. Starting with mortgage applications, activity for purchases and refinances down 5%. Jobless claims, those filing for the first time, initial down 2,000, but continuing claims up 36,000. Now, probably the most interesting part of this week was the fact that we have an X date coming up in August. And what the X date is basically it's where the Treasury Department can no longer fund the government and pay for our debts. The last time this happened was in 2023, and Fitch downgraded the U.S. credit rating then, and the bonds did not have a positive reaction to that. Now in 2025, Moody has downgraded our credit rating at this point, and we are likely to see more spending increased as a result of this big, beautiful bill. Now, it narrowly passed the House last night. It moves into the Senate now. It's hard to say whether it will pass or not. But given the rhetoric that's out there and the if you don't do this, then this, that we see coming from the White House in terms of pressuring the Congress people, it'll just be interesting to see what happens. But this big, beautiful bill is likely to increase our debt a lot in a not so beautiful way. So it's debt that will have to be repaid. That could be a challenge as we approach this X date if we have to increase the debt ceiling as it was done in 2023. One other thing of note, U.S. Treasuries. China used to be the largest holder of U.S. Treasuries. And at this point, they have allowed their holdings to come to fruition and fall off their books. And they are not investing in U.S. Treasuries anymore. They are now the third largest foreign entity holding U.S. Treasuries and no longer the first, which is a position they've held for many, many years. So just something of interest to note there. Let's take a look at the MBS charts and see the activity that we've had over the last 2 weeks. Now, it's been a little bit of whipsaw almost every other day, really, to be honest, for the last 2 weeks. We lost ground. We made up some ground. It's just going back and forth. We're making up a little bit of ground at this point, but we certainly have not recovered from where we were a couple of months ago at this point. And what could happen based on this X date, what comes to fruition is that we could see interest rates go up in the end of the third quarter, start of fourth quarter, depending upon what happens with this bill, what happens with this X date, how it's managed. So you should be prepared as someone who's thinking about refinancing or purchasing that interest rates could go up. Might be a little bit of speed bump at the end of this year. The Feds have held tight on their position at this point that they're not going to do anything with the short-term interest rates. So that's not going to help you as it relates to credit card payments, your equity lines, any car loans if you need a new loan, or any student loan payments. They are not going to be coming down anytime soon. And it's possible we may not have any rate decreases this year for the Fed rate. We'll see. But just keep this in mind if you are interested in purchasing or refinancing. Now might be the time to do it. I have a loan closing next week on Friday. The interest rate's of 5.999%. The reason we got that is because in this market right now, people are getting seller concessions, and what we are using those concessions for are either temporary or permanent interest rate buy downs. So it's possible to take advantage of where we're at right now and still get a good interest rate. So keep that in mind, because it is possible we could see rates go up later this year. And we did hit 8% at one point in 2023. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. I do appreciate you watching my video and liking my video. For those of you that have lost military members as a result of their service, I do thank you for their service and recognize your loss. Thoughts go out to you as we celebrate those people this weekend, on Memorial Day weekend. Otherwise, have a beautiful weekend. I will see you next week.